Alright, Astro subscribers, it's time for another video in the North and South Node of the Moon series. And this time we're going to be covering what it means when the North Node is in Cancer and the South Node is in Capricorn. Moving on from our series, going around in a clockwise way, starting from North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra, and just going from there. So this is the fourth video in that series, and for those of you who might not know what the North and South Node of the Moon are, there's plenty of videos about it on YouTube, but I will do a brief overview at the moment. North Node is the areas of our life that we are naturally not super great at, so we feel this impulsive sort of manic need to stand out in those areas in whatever way possible. It's related to past life karma if you believe in that, but if you don't, you can just think of it as sort of the skills you're born with in the context of this lifetime, or not born with. In the case of the North Node, it's the areas of life that we're anxious about, that we feel like we need to take what we can get while the getting's good in that area, and there's this impulsive need to appear as something you're not. So to appear as an expert in this area, even if you might not know the most about it. So the South Node of the Moon is the opposite of the North Node. They're always 180 degrees apart from each other in an aspect called an opposition. It's the most disharmonic aspect, but these two are like two sides of the same coin. So the South Node of the Moon, it represents the areas in our life where we are naturally gifted, but because we're naturally gifted, we don't care about those things very much. So it is a mastery, but it's a detached mastery. Now, if you have planets conjunct the South Node, what tends to happen is these planets get, if it's like an active planet like Mars or Sun, you get a person who feels really confident in their abilities, but they go back in and win anyway. And if you get North Node conjunct planets, what tends to happen is these planets get an anxiety boost. So if you get Mars and North Node, for instance, those people are like, instead of being regularly aggressive, they're like hyper aggressive. That's actually considered a way of Mars being debilitated, is conjuncting the North Node. And if you get people who are, let's say, Sun conjunct the North Node, instead of just wanting normal attention, they want all the attention. They want all the attention they can get. And their public appearance is probably going to be extremely spontaneous. So, anyway, now we're going into the signs of Capricorn and Cancer, with the North Node in Cancer and the South Node in Capricorn. So the signs of Cancer and Capricorn, they are opposing signs, obviously, but they have two things in common, or they have really, I guess, one thing in common. They're about taking care of people, and they represent the mother and father, archetypally speaking. So Cancer is the maternal caregiving instinct, which is protective, like a mother bear, but it's also nourishing. So it's this dichotomy of being willing to violently protect your kin, but also sort of being willing to do whatever it takes to take care of people. And you get this sort of nurturing person, but keep in mind, there's nothing more dangerous than a mother bear or a mother wolf or something. So there's also that side of Cancer as well, which is why Cancer also represents predators. So, and then you've got Capricorn, which is organization, it's work, it's responsibility, it's all the things that, traditionally speaking, were done by the father. And, people get all butthurt about that. They're like, well, mothers can do those things too. It's like, nobody's saying that they can't. So this is just about archetypes. So a female person can embody a masculine archetype and vice versa. And it has, the abstract concept of male and female behavior, polarized behavior, has nothing to do with your body. So don't even go down that road. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant for the psychology of things. But anyway, so that's what Capricorn is. It's discipline, responsibility, harsh, cold criticism, organizational capacity, work, breadwinning, going out and getting things done. Whereas Cancer has this more sort of reactive, defensive, protective, but also nourishing vibe to it. But they're both trying to accomplish the same thing, which is caring for people. They just have their own way of doing it. So what happens when you put the north-south node on this axis is this person's life becomes about caring for other people, primarily. Their orientation is toward, if north node is in Cancer, their orientation is going to be towards, they're hyper protective of the people they care about. They're very, very vigilant people. They're constantly observing what's going on around them, potential threats both in the present and the future. They have a heightened sense of anxiety because moon is emotions, but there's not much of a stronger anxiety than fear, or a stronger emotion than fear. So moon is in part fear. It's because in order to take care of somebody, you have to protect them. And in order to protect people, you have to be aware of the threats that you might have to protect them from. So these people become extraordinarily vigilant, and they become extraordinarily focused on their family. Where when you have, and then by the same token, you have South Node in Capricorn, and remember, South Node is the areas of your life where you're already good at it, so you don't necessarily need to work too hard at it. So these people have a natural sort of social vision for the way that, because Capricorn represents work and society, these people have a natural sort of inborn sense of justice, fairness, work ethic, organization, and they want to sort of organize their behavior in society to do the right thing, and they almost kind of do that without trying. So South Node is considered sort of debilitated in Earth signs, but you have to keep in mind what debilitation and exaltation means. A debilitation does not mean that you're bad at something. So if somebody has Mars in Cancer, that does not mean that they are a bad fighter. What it does mean, however, because Mars is debilitating Cancer, what this does mean, however, is that you might be really good at something, but it manifests itself in a sort of a way that hurts you or is like dishonorable. So if somebody has Sun in Libra, it doesn't mean they don't have a strong personality, because Sun is debilitated in Libra. They might have a very strong personality, but it comes off in a way that rubs people the wrong way because they feel insecure. So they project this strong personality. Likewise, if somebody has Mercury in Pisces where it's debilitated, this doesn't mean that they're stupid. What it means is that they're so smart, they probably have a hard time organizing their communication, and they come off as very erratic to people. Albert Einstein had Mercury in Pisces. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't mean that you're not gifted. It just means that your gifts manifest in a way which makes people dislike you as opposed to like you. But you're very gifted. So that's what South Node is like in Earth signs. So these people might be the hardest workers, they might be the most organized people, but if they get acknowledgement for their work, it's often like infamy. This is like a very infamous placement. These people might be extraordinarily successful, but it's like people will always sort of judge them and feel like they didn't earn their status because they go about getting that status in a very unconventional way. But they don't really care because they're not concerned with their reputation. What their reputation only exists to protect the people that they care about. Like, so they don't care about how other people perceive them necessarily. You know, the way they see it is like, yeah, I'm organized, yeah, I work hard, yeah, I get all this stuff done, but it's not for you. It's not for society. It's for my family. It's for the people I care about, because that's what Cancer represents. And that's where the energy of the South Node, the past life karmas, the natural gifts, gets put into the South Node, or the North Node rather. It gets put into the energy vessel of the North Node. So that's basically what these people do. You can think of North Node kind of like a light bulb, and the South Node is kind of like a battery. You know, the light bulb is what people see. It's attractive. It's what the battery is supposed to power. You know, it's expressive. But the battery is where all the energy is. But when you look at a light bulb and you look at a battery, you think, you see the energy coming out of the light bulb. You don't see it coming out of the battery. That's a good example of this. Or that's a good metaphor for the north and south node of the moon. So yeah, these people's organizational capacity is, people might not like it. They might say they cheated to get where they're at, but they don't care because they're just putting all of their energy into protecting the people that they care about, which is the area where they have the most to grow and the most to learn from. So that was my analysis of North Node in the sign of Cancer and South Node in the sign of Capricorn. Tune in next time for the next video in the series, which is going to be South Node in the sign of Aquarius and North Node in the sign of Leo. So check that out.